My father was a bully. I would say for sure he was emotionally abusive, and I never took my mother's side.
Do you think your mom had pain because you always took her dad's side?
That's a great question, and I'll never know the answer to that.
Miami-Dade Mayor Daniella Levine Cava celebrating victory tonight. Voters re-electing her for a second four-year term.
I felt very lonely, but in school I was kind of an outcast. I have told you this story, and I told it to myself, and the other part was I was fat, and I didn't say that. I have one rule as county mayor, which is no bullying. I therefore have become so attuned to it and so angered by it that it does motivate so much of what I do.
Our community experiences you.
Not a bully.
I would say an anti-bully. People know they cannot bully us
Because of you. I'm like, we got the mayor on our side.
Exactly. We have you.
Over the years, I was able to adapt to new environments and reinvent myself, as I said. Training myself to be more present and listen has enabled me to take the path that I've taken. I would not be the mayor but for what I'm telling you. You matter to somebody, and you can create the situation to matter because you reach out, and that what people really need is to matter.
Shame is something that I believe all of us have experienced. We may not recognize that whatever undeserved shame may be the source of our superpower.
I'm Suzan McDowell.
I am Teri Williams. I am the great-grandchild of my honey, and you're watching Who's Your My Honey? Welcome, Mayor Daniella Levine Cava, and thank you for being here.
It's really a pleasure. Thank you so much, ladies.
Yeah. So we're here at Who's Your My Honey because of a personal experience that I went through. About 10 years ago, we had commissioned this artist from Miami, Adonis Parker, to do a mural on the bank. He asked me, well, you know, who are you and how did you get to be who you are? I have to say, it was 3 times he asked me the same question. I was like, let me think about it. Like, what is he asking me? And I paused and I thought about it and I said, you know, I think it was my great-grandmother. We called her My Honey. She owned a penny candy store in Indiantown, Florida. Indiantown is a population of 7,000 people, railroad track. White people lived on one side, black people lived on the other. She owned all these apartments, and I used to follow her to collect rent. And so I think that I learned from my great-grandmother. In fact, I may even be like my great-grandmother. I realized that I went from Indiantown to Brown. It was a cultural shock. You know, this was before the internet. I didn't even know Ivy Leagues, what an Ivy League school was. I applied to all these schools. Brown just gave me a bunch of money. So I said, okay, I'll come. But I got there and I was like, what is this? I don't even know what this is. And I called my mom. I was like, Mom, I don't like anybody here. And she was like, oh, you'll be fine. And I was fine. But I realized that through this process, I was made to feel ashamed of the fact that I was from Indiantown. And in that shame, I buried like my life, my roots, and the influence that my great-grandmother had on me. And I was like, who does that? Who like buries like your great-grandmother? And what I also realized is that this shame ended up being the source of my superpower. Like the thing that I was most ashamed of was the thing that was allowing me to be successful. And so I tell you that story because that's the question we want to ask you. Who is your My Honey? I know it's a tough question.
It's a tough
I
question.
have had a day to think about this because you could imagine just showing up and going deep, deep, deep to find this would have been a challenge. But even as we're talking, I'm thinking of other things. But I'll tell you what came to mind.
Okay.
So I was a child who was born into, I wasn't wealthy, but we weren't poor, and we had what we needed, and my parents provided, and I had loving grandparents.
And just for the audience, where were you born?
I was born in New York City.
New York.
I was born at Jewish Memorial Hospital in Upper Manhattan in Washington Heights.
Oh,
How about that?
Yeah.
And I, wasn't everything perfect, but again, I had what I needed and my parents loved me. They fought a lot, so there wasn't always love in the household, a lot of discord. Then I had a brother and a sister. And I was a very serious child. And I realized that I felt very lonely. I was lonely. I had some friends, but in school, I was kind of an outcast. I didn't really fit in. And in thinking about this, I know a lot of people have that experience. So maybe the shame was I wasn't popular. People didn't really seek me out in school. And I wanted to have more friends and I wanted to belong. And I was depressed and I was also bored, which is really interesting.
It's because you're smart.
Well, I was bored, I don't know, but I've never been bored since. So that's part of the story. So about age 12 was when I realized, this was not going the way I wanted. And then my family started moving around. We lived overseas. I lived in first Canada, then Brazil, then Chile, Chicago, not overseas, but we moved around. And I had an opportunity to reinvent myself, which was really something. And I was able to do more to fit in, to listen maybe, to be more present to the other kids and not just thinking about myself, to get a little outside of myself. And I became kind of popular, which was really fun, right? I was kind of I was the
Popular
in
girl.
kid, right? And another friend and I, we did it for good. Like we were the popular girls that included everybody, right? We weren't
Not the
bullies.
mean girls.
Yeah, not the
We
mean
were
You were
not.
the anti-mean
We
girls.
were the anti-mean girls.
Very
That's
good.
exactly right. So over the years, I was able to adapt to new environments and reinvent myself, as I said. And I think what I realized is that I needed to get outside of myself, be more present for others, and listen better. And this has actually been a lifelong pursuit. But I actually had a spiritual awakening. My children left home. So our children went away early. And we were bereft, my husband and I. I guess that was the next period in my life in which I
empty
was depressed.
nesters.
I was depressed.
Yeah.
And we started going to temple, synagogue, and studying Torah.
Oh,
And that was really, and I remember my rabbi said to me, so you must be involved in tikkun olam, repairing the world in Hebrew, because of your Judaism. I said, I don't think so. I said, I'm involved in tikkun olam because that's what the world needs. And by the way, I come to temple not to be socially active, but to deepen my own understanding. And from there, I realized that I needed to do more to be a better listener, that I was still wanting to be like at the front of the class and raising my hand. So I was wanting recognition. And so I had to turn it around and stop being addicted to action. So what I realized then was that when I had been bored and depressed, that I turned it into action. And that action became an addiction. And I was never bored. I promised I'd never be bored again. I was never bored. I'm not bored to this day. No, nothing's boring to me.
A lot going on.
But it was that awareness that made me slow down and that allowed me to truly listen better to be able to run for office. And that is who I am now. So I guess the superpower is really understanding that it is about the connection through the listening, the humility that came from having been there myself, of having felt outside. Even though I didn't lack materially for anything, I lacked community. And I've been obsessed with building community ever since. So that's my version of what you've sparked in me.
Yeah, no, you sparked a couple of questions in me. First of all, you said in the beginning that you thought about this and this is what you thought, but then you might have thought of something else. So I'm just curious.
You're a good listener. Good listener.
Yes. What do you think of after hearing my story? I don't want to, but did something else come to mind?
Well, I was thinking about my parents and the tension in their marriage, and that my role in the family as the firstborn was to, I was a caregiver in a certain sense, but I also was my father's favorite. My father was a bully.
Mm.
Okay, I don't think he was physically abusive, but I would say for sure he was emotionally abusive.
Mhm.
And I never took my mother's side. I always took my father's side. Isn't
Oh,
that
wow.
something?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
identified with the bully,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
what people do.
Yeah.
And I have
yeah.
one rule as county mayor,
Mm.
which is no
No
bullying.
No
bullying.
bullying.
I do not
No
allow
bullying.
bullying. And when I
Mm.
see it in the organization, I
Mm.
fix it
Mm.
because it's pernicious and
Mm.
it's bad. So then I was trying to think,
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
as we're talking,
Yeah.
how did that influence,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The shame
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
and I guess I am ashamed. Why did I not take my mother's
But maybe
I
also,
understand.
maybe
Absolutely.
were you a mediator in any way? Maybe
Well,
in that role?
that's a
Maybe.
nice idea.
That's a great way to put it. Like,
So in the family, I was
Mhm.
the oldest. The middle is my sister.
Mhm.
She tried to play mediator, or she
Okay.
tried to defend my mother.
Okay.
And and long story about my sister, but I would say um, she took a lot of pain on herself,
Oh, wow.
right?
Yeah.
your sister did because
Yeah.
of your mom.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah,
think your mom had pain because you always took your dad's side?
that's a great question, and I'll
Mm.
never know the answer to that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, she's gone.
Yeah.
She was very proud of me,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know, she never said
Mm.
anything like that,
Mm-hmm.
but I do think it was something missing in my life
Mhm.
that I identified more with my father than I did with my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same
What's
experience.
interesting is, and this is how I experience you, which is pretty much what you said, that you do not accept bullying. Like it's almost like that experience that maybe you are
Yes.
today
Yeah.
ashamed of.
Yeah, maybe that's the
Actually,
shame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's
That's right.
actually your superpower
Yeah.
because
Yes,
the
it's
way
true.
I would say our community experiences you is
Not
that
a bully.
yeah, it's not
Not a
not only
bully.
not a bully, but
Yeah.
I would say an anti-bully. Like when you
Yeah.
see bullying,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like people know they cannot bully us
Because of
you.
you.
Oh.
I'm like, we got the mayor on our side.
Exactly. That's how our community
Yeah.
feels.
You know, when
That's how
people-
No,
the
I mean,
community
but
feels. We
seriously,
really
the
do.
community, our community feels bullied.
Yes.
No, we are bullied.
We are bullied.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
I
are
would say we are
bullied,
bullied,
yeah.
and yet
Feel bullied. We are bullied.
we have you. And so it may be that's where that superpower came from.
Mhm.
Is
I
that
certainly
you?
was hypersensitive
Yeah.
to that
Yeah.
bullying.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I
Hmm.
you also, when you were talking about being in New York and then you moved, I'm wondering when you went into these new places, it's sort of unusual for someone to come into a new place and become popular.
Yeah.
And I mean, so there was something you figured out.
She was purposefully popular. Yeah, right?
Well, there
Purposefully
was
popular.
something unique about it, was that in Brazil and in Chile, which is my, preteen and early
Mhm.
teen years,
Mhm.
everybody was new. It was an international community.
We were all new
International-
together.
We were all
yes.
new together, so there
Yes.
were no established cliques,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of a thing. So
Mhm.
you could come in and reinvention. So
Mhm.
I viewed it as my opportunity to reinvent, and I
Mhm.
imagine others were
It's
experiencing
doing
it the same way.
thing.
Yeah.
Mhm. Was there
Oh, wow.
something different about so maybe that's it. Maybe you answered the question already. Whereas in New York, everyone had been there maybe in some cases for generations because people don't leave
Yeah.
Washington Heights. Like, they're
Well,
still-
I didn't grow up in Washington Heights. We
Okay.
moved to the suburbs.
Okay.
So I lived in Ossining, New York.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So Westchester County. But I
Yes.
think that's true. It was a very stable,
Right.
not a lot of movement.
Right.
Once you have those relationships, you
Yeah,
might
there
not
you are.
let other people in,
Right.
that sort of a thing.
Right,
Very
right.
Like people just
established.
want to decide who you are. Yeah, they want to
Yes.
decide who you are based on your
Yes.
circumstances. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think so.
And did back then, again, it's a question, was there a Jewish community?
Well, that's an interesting question, too. I didn't ever really live in a particularly Jewish community.
Mm-hmm.
So that wasn't a major part of
Mhm.
my identity growing up.
Mhm.
I mean, I did go to Sunday school, but
Mhm.
and then when we lived in South America, not so much because there wasn't much of the Jewish community spoke German. or Portuguese, or so
Mhm.
there wasn't much of a Jewish experience.
Mhm.
So,
So
that's
that really
interesting.
became part of your community at an older age when you
Yes,
started
that's
going.
exactly true. It
Yes,
did. It
yes.
did again when the children left home.
Yeah.
Yes,
And a
yes.
spiritual awakening,
And a
like in
spiritual
adulthood,
awakening,
like it's
yeah.
really like very powerful. Also, too, I had my spiritual awakening in my middle 30s, and I felt ashamed that I had just gotten to it. I was like, oh my God, all these years. You know what I mean? You feel like you
Mm.
missed out on a bunch of years where you could have felt this way, right? And
Mm.
yeah.
Interesting,
Yeah.
lovely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so grateful that I found
Grateful.
that path.
Grateful.
Right.
So grateful. And
And it was here.
yes,
It was here in Miami,
yes,
which has a wonderful Jewish community. Not,
yes,
I mean, wonderful
yes,
communities in
yes,
general,
yes,
but yeah,
yes.
it was here. So, part of this journey, I think, for me, has been trying to recognize that the shame was undeserved. That, and even today, I think we sometimes experience undeserved shame. You know, where, and I would imagine as an elected official, there's probably a
People
lot of
trying to shame you all day long.
Indeed,
All
indeed.
day
That's what
long.
I'm thinking as you're
Yes.
talking. Oh
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
people are
people
heaping
trying
a
to
whole
shame
lot
you
of
all
shame
day
on me
long.
all the time.
Right,
Yes,
right,
yes,
right.
yes.
How do you deal with that? Because I mean, you've done some wonderful things, and then I'll pick up the paper and I'll be like, "What?
What are you talking
Like
about?
it'll be
Yeah.
like some little bitty that they would have blown. How do you?
So true, so true.
Yeah, how do
Do
you
you know, I'm
deal
going
with
to tell
that?
you the wildest thing. I got a call today from our former city mayor, Francis Suarez. He said, I'm going to do something that people never do. I'm going to call you to congratulate you and say thank you because you're really doing a great job with the planters in the medians on the roadways.
Oh, wow. He
So-
noticed and he called you.
That's exactly right.
Wow.
I like, whoa, what
And he
a
didn't
nice
have
thing.
to.
He certainly did not have to,
No.
and it was pretty random,
Yeah.
right? But people don't do that.
Right.
They do not do
Yeah.
that.
They
But
do
people
not
with
do
power,
that.
like if you understand power, he understands because of his power that what it means for him to call you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
So
like
thrilling.
that's a big endorsement.
And then I had to think about it. Well, how did that happen?
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a policy that I got passed when I was a commissioner that focused on native plantings, and there was whatever. And yeah, like probably I could take some credit for that,
Right,
you know,
of course.
if we were
Right,
part of
right,
that.
right.
But as far as shame,
Undeserved shame.
undeserved. Oh, that's bad. Well,
it was even
I don't
worse.
know. When is it deserved, right?
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
point.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
good point. but-
Undeserved
Yeah.
shame. You know,
And it's more like how did
Yeah,
it impact
how did it
you? How do you get
happen?
over? How do you get over?
well, I'll
or
tell you,
get
and here's
through
an
it?
interesting thing. I
Yes.
have told you this story, and I told it to myself.
Mhm.
And the other part was I was fat. And I didn't say that.
Mm.
Now, why didn't I say that?
When like I didn't have
When I was a girl and I was depressed and lonely and not popular, you know, I wasn't extremely obese, but I was overweight and I was ashamed of that.
You're ashamed of being, yeah,
Of course I
being big.
was. I was ashamed of that.
Mm.
So, you know, so ashamed that I wouldn't even mention it.
Yeah.
How about
yeah.
that?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you're not fat.
Well, I have to work on it,
Just
don't
saying.
we? Yeah,
Yes,
we have
yeah,
to
yeah.
definitely lost
Yeah.
some weight recently, which
Mhm.
I'm glad about.
Mhm.
But how about that? I mean,
Yeah.
these are things that, you know, the internal
Yeah.
Right.
self-perception.
You don't wanna talk about it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
you don't
It's
wanna
you're
talk about it.
ashamed of it, and you're
Right.
ashamed that you're ashamed.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why? You know what I mean? You're ashamed that you're ashamed and that you
Yeah.
forget.
And even, you know, again, because we're learning more and more about this as we talk to folks.
You mean you talk to other people about this too?
We talked to Sabrina Fulton.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
we
gotta
talked
go.
to Congresswoman
Yeah, listen.
Wilson.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And
all right.
everyone has a
Oh, my.
story. I mean,
Right.
I think it's a human condition.
Yes,
Yes.
everybody has shame.
Particularly for people that have lived in different countries,
Mm.
immigrants,
Mm.
of course, the Black community, but it seems as though this undeserved shame that, yeah, it does end up being our superpower because we learn to overcome it,
Yes,
to
channel
be
it.
Right,
resilient.
right. So
and-
very powerful what you're saying.
yeah.
So in
yeah.
college, I majored in psychology, and I had a professor named Bill Kesson, who was a famous psychologist, and he had a concept, maybe it wasn't unique to him, about an activity that you do. You stand up at the same line, and then for everything that you're not a white male Anglo-Saxon
Mhm.
Protestant, let's
Mhm.
say, take a step back.
Step over the line, yeah.
Well,
Take a
we
step
were
back.
going back.
Back.
So, you know, you're a woman, step back.
Back.
Right.
You're not white, take a
Yeah.
step back.
Yeah.
You know, not
Yeah.
Protestant, let's
Yeah.
say, take a step
Yes.
back, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Each of these things that makes you not what
Deserving.
Makes you less.
That's what
Makes
I say.
you less.
Makes you less. You're less
that's right.
deserving.
And
you
then
less.
you have to overcome
Yes.
those
Right.
things,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And here
Right.
we are living in an age in which people don't want you to even talk about that, the differences, right?
Yes. Right.
So
There are
Right.
crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy. When it is the source of even the country's
the country's
superpower.
the country,
superpower.
and certainly our county's superpower.
Yes,
Yeah.
And so
absolutely.
you
And we
say
were
that
talking about it.
I
Yes.
don't allow bullying in the
Mhm.
community, which, oh my goodness, that is so powerful. I'm so,
Yeah. But that comes from somewhere too. That bullying thing, the visceral triggering that
yes,
you get
yes.
is from your time when they would bully you.
Well,
Yeah.
yes, and I did feel bullied a little bit by other children. Like it wasn't just like left alone. They were mean to me, I
Mhm.
suppose,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
And I might have buried some of those, but really it was more my mother and my father. But the fact that I therefore have become so attuned to it, right? And so angered by it that it does motivate so much of what I do. Yes, is a superpower, but also we live in the place that is the most, in
Diverse
my
in
view,
the
diverse
entire
and
country.
inclusive.
Yes.
And
yes.
that I take so much pride
Right.
in.
Right.
And so here we are showing up for each other
Right.
in such a powerful way. And when we're told we can't do that anymore,
Right.
You're like, it's a
Yeah,
blessing. It's a
yeah.
good
what are
thing.
you talking
Yes,
about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 That actually leads
So-
me to a question.
At least your
To a
question.
question.
Okay.
So we were just talking about Miami-Dade being one of the most complex, layered, culturally diverse communities, Caribbean, Black Miami, Jewish, and you run all of it. And you speak all of it, not just in policy, but in something more personal. Where do you think that fluency comes from? The ability to speak all of these different people languages. I mean, obviously you traveled and all that, but you were particularly good at it. You were built for this. Like we look at you, and the reason we're looking at you like this, because we see somebody who's doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. You ever been to like Alvin Ailey and seen all these dancers amazing, and then there's one dancer that's putting some extra, putting a back into it a little bit. And you're like, that person is doing exactly what
I've
they're
like
supposed to do.
died and gone to heaven
Yeah.
when you compare me to Revelations. Oh
I
my
know.
goodness.
Even that you would know it's
Even that you would know,
Yes.
I'll put.
Now you know why we love you.
Oh my
You
goodness.
understand.
Well, in fact, let me just say this, because you came to Suzanne's birthday party, which I was not able to come.
Oh,
And she's like,
heartbroken.
do you know she's saying not just happy birthday, she's saying
Happy birthday to
ya.
ya.
happy birthday. I was like, no.
Listen,
She's like, yes.
all of Black Miami was like, no way. You know how many cool points I got? They were like, you got the mayor to show up, give your proclamation, and then roll into the Black happy birthday song. And you were so chill with it, so comfortable, like, of course. And listen, it's a superpower.
I feel so blessed to be able to cross cultures, right? Which it's not how it always was. I mean, you have to work at it.
You have to work at it. You have to
Right?
want to do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I feel so enriched. And maybe, yes, I had that experience as a young person traveling, for sure. That was good. But I think, interestingly, my parents were both that way. And interestingly, my husband is that way. And his parents were that way.
Oh, wow.
And I think about that a lot. My sister-in-law was going through old papers, and she found some of the eulogies for her dad and talking about that, how he just didn't, differences were just part of life and wonderful. He was, and how do you get that way? Okay, now I'm going to tell you a story.
Yes.
Okay, so I was around about that 12 years old. That's the pivotal, right? When you're coming out of
Same thing.
adolescence and
Yeah.
all this, so much happened in that
Stuff's
time.
happening.
And I remember, maybe it was when I'd come back from one of the overseas and was going to another place, and I remember lying in the bathtub for whatever, thinking deep thoughts, and I started
deep
12-year-old thoughts, like what is my community? I was
Yeah.
thinking,
Where's your tribe?
what is my tribe?
Where's your tribe?
Okay, so I thought, okay, so I'm part of my family. I'm part of my town, I guess. I'm part of my state, my country. And like, where do I feel connected? What is the thing that really more defines me? And I really just felt part of, you could say, part of humanity. That's okay. So that's not everybody does feel that way, right? They're more localized or
Not at
whatever
all.
to their identity.
Right.
I mean, even universality, right? Living creatures. And that's how I think about my place in the world.
Wow.
I don't think of it in a small way.
In
but
like little silos.
Little silos.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're part of bigger.
So you mentioned that your husband went to Brown, your son and your daughter-in-law went to Brown, and I've sort of talked about Brown as this place that I didn't feel that looked down on me. But I do have to say that it actually was a place that accepted diversity more than most, particularly
yes.
Ivy League
I'm
institutions.
very well aware of that, and that was
Yes.
a big reason why we thought it would be good for our son to go.
Yes, and it's probably also why you found your husband, because there is something about that environment. So it's almost like you can have both, but there was something intentional about Brown. First of all, that it accepted me to begin with from Indiantown, Florida.
You're like, really?
Yeah, exactly. But
I would just like to point out, she was always the smartest person in her class. Go ahead. Always.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sure of it.
Person at the front, like me. That's her.
I love school, but
She did.
but I think that there is an intentionality to what you do, to what Brown did, and what you do here in Miami, and it appears that it does come from the other side of you feeling left out, that you don't want anybody else to feel.
left
Even
out.
when you said, when you went and you were the popular, you weren't the mean popular. You were the nice popular. Like it's it's nice to be popular.
Anti-mean girl.
And actually, you're a mayor. You're popular. I mean, you won the popularity contest.
That's literally the definition of popularity. You got everybody to
it's pretty,
get up out of our and go to that poll.
It's pretty
and vote for you.
overwhelming.
Like,
yes.
Yes.
When you won,
and you won like hands
were you
down.
like,
It wasn't even like
you like, how'd I get here?
the first time, because you became the first woman
Yeah. That was a
mayor.
lot.
So did
Look,
you like? How did this happen?
You know what they say about politicians? 2 reasons: either to be someone or do something. I didn't do it to be someone, although being someone allows you to do a lot of stuff, right? And that was really, I wanted to do more stuff. I'd been doing a lot of things that I felt good about in the community, but more needed to do it. And who was going to do it? Nobody that I saw was going to win as county commissioner and focus on the things that I thought were important, and same about mayor. But what I love most about being mayor is that people see me.
Yeah, I guess.
And that people on the street call me Daniella.
Yeah.
And they want to hug me. And they say, I can't tell you the number of people that just say, I love you.
Yes.
Like out of the blue.
You're my
like,
mayor.
Like,
I'm like, you're my
I know, I mean, you
personal
could be a
mayor.
mayor and not love the person,
yes.
right? I mean, that
absolutely.
is a very strong statement,
Yes.
right?
No, it is.
And so, and what that means to me is that they see me and they know that I am there for them. That's what I feel.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you use the word love, because that's one of the themes that we're finding, how people move from shame to superpower.
And it always involves love.
It always involves.
Because love is the
love.
answer.
Ladies,
Everything.
I'm sorry, but you know, like you are deep.
Deep.
Okay.
No, really. But
It's the
that's
truth.
It's when people feel that they are in an environment of love, that they feel like they can bring their whole selves. And they
can
don't
leave
feel
the shame
shame
behind. Yeah.
So I heard just this week or so ago about mattering. Do you know about this concept of mattering?
No.
So particularly psychologist, I guess, in Canada who has really pioneered, and there's a whole movement around mattering. And that what people really need is to matter.
Like belonging.
It's yes. So and the point was being made, like, okay, yes, I matter. I'm the mayor. You know, I take care of a lot of things for the county, but you don't have to be mayor to matter.
To matter,
right?
yeah.
You matter to somebody.
To somebody, yeah.
Right.
To your kid.
And you can create the situation to matter, because you reach out. And they were telling the story, I think somebody who came into this whole school of mattering said that he was talking to his dad or his grandfather who was 90 whatever and doing really strong. And what was it? And this person who lived alone, never felt lonely. I was a church organist, and he provided food to shut-ins, and he was delivering food to people much younger than himself. And he knew that he mattered, that people, that he showed up for people.
Yeah, they were looking forward to seeing him because he mattered to them.
And he didn't wait for them to ask. He
put he was like, I matter, just so you know I'm mattering.
I'm mattering for
yes,
you.
I'm mattering for you.
I'm doing this so I can matter to you.
Yeah. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story. It's not easy for us to admit our shame or to talk about the difficult experiences that we have overcome. But it's so important, I think, for people to hear, because they see you and they love you and they recognize that you are who you are, like the mayor of this wonderful county that we live in.
Very complicated, unique,
and
diverse.
And I think it's inspiring for people to know that there was a moment in time where you didn't feel heard or loved, or that you felt shame, and you figured out how to overcome that.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wait to me to recognize it at 50 something, but it does matter, and we're really trying to ensure that our children don't feel that shame.
Yes.
And so we want to thank you for coming here, but also thank you for being you.
Yeah.
Because you model for all of us that bullying is not acceptable and that everyone matters, So thank you.
Remember when we had that fundraiser for you at Eric's house, and you sat there, you were already the mayor and you were running for re-election, right?
Yeah.
We're there, and there's all the most powerful Black people in all of Miami-Dade. And we're like, we love you, we love you, we love you, we love you. And you were crying. Like, she was crying because she felt like the actual, genuine, true, authentic love that we have somebody that's not going to let anybody bully us. We know you're our champion. And so I worry about you. I do. I worry about you, Mayor, because I see you. And I know people are like pow, pow, powing you all day long. So remember I told you, I said, when somebody's messing with you, you can call me, but if somebody's messing with you, I want you to remember being in that room. I want you to remember that feeling when somebody's like cussing you out or thinks you're wrong. I want you to remember that you sat in that room and we believe in you and we love you and we trust you and we know that you're our advocate. So when they're messing with you, I want you to remember that.
If I could say what a joyful experience this has been, and to have the time to reflect deeply, and this will reverberate for me for a long, long time. And I thank you for these deep and personal questions and relating to us together about it. Yeah. And I'll just end with this. One of the things that I love is when people say to me, they're proud of me.
I'm proud of
and in the old days, I used to think that was like patronizing. But now I feel like we're in this together. I'm proud of you and you. I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. And when people say that to me, I just know we're in this together.
Because it's not easy. What you're doing is not easy. To get all the way to the top is hard.
So thank you. We're going to keep pushing.
Yes.
We're all
going to
have
a lot of work to do.
We got a lot of work to do. Thank you.
Suzanne and I would like to thank our executive producers, Kobe Proctor, Anya Mendoza, and Jessica Hurley, as well as the entire One United Bank Circle of One Marketing and Epic Media team. The Who's Your My Honey show was created in collaboration and produced by United Bank and Epic Media. Recorded at the Hive Studio, this series is to amplify stories that transform undeserved shame into superpower, the resilience and leadership skills needed to build generational wealth and economic empowerment. If this conversation moves you, share it, subscribe, and join our community. Thanks.